battle station varies, 9 hung above a dying red planet like a dark crown, its metal skin reflecting the weak sunlight. Inside its cold steel halls, soldiers of a dozen alien races moved with sharp discipline. Every sound, boots on metal, armor clicking, the hum of machines, blended into a rhythm of control and power. Today, a new batch of recruits was arriving. Another group to feed the endless wars. The docking bay doors opened with a hiss. 10 figures stepped through the fog of the airlock, 9 aliens of various species, and 1 small, quiet human woman. She walked in silence, her steps light but steady, her eyes focused forward. Her name badge read, Lieutenant Mira Hale, Earth Corps. But the word Earth meant little here. Most of the aliens had only heard it in stories, about an old, dangerous world, long destroyed after the human uprising. She wore no armor, only a dark uniform jacket with faded patches. Her hands were bare. No weapon, no fear. At the scanning gate, a tall reptilian officer waved his claw. "Step forward for identification," he ordered. His voice echoed across the hangar. The new soldiers obeyed one by one, standing still as beams of blue light passed over their bodies. Species confirmed, rank confirmed. The scanner droned as each alien passed. The officer didn't even look up. It was routine. Then Mira stepped forward. The scanner went silent. No light, no sound, just a soft electrical hum. Then suddenly the screen exploded with red warnings. Beep, beep, beep. Alert. Earthborn detected. Do not engage. Do not engage. The voice of the machine echoed like thunder across the hangar. Every alien froze. Helmets turned. Tails flicked. Claws tightened on rifles. The officer frowned. "Repeat scan," he said sharply. The operator, hands shaking, restarted the sequence. The scanner hesitated again. Then louder this time. "Earthborn detected. Warning, classified entity." The red glow covered Mira's body. Her face remained calm. She didn't blink. The officer stepped back instinctively, confusion flickering in his golden eyes. From the observation deck above, the base commander, a tall, armored creature with silver plates along his spine, watched with an amused smirk. "Is this a joke?" he said. "A human? The scanners are still haunted by old war data." He pressed the intercom. "Bring that one to me." 2 guards approached Mira, but she didn't move. She looked around, her eyes quietly studying the room. The weapons, the exits, the soldiers' fear. When she spoke, her voice was soft. "Your machine isn't broken." One of the guards barked, "Quiet human!" But his voice cracked halfway through. The commander walked down from the deck, his heavy boots shaking the floor. He towered over her, his armor humming with energy. "You're claiming to be Earthborn?" he mocked. "That's impossible. Earth is ash." Mira tilted her head slightly. "If that helps you sleep, believe it." The commander's smile faded. "You speak boldly for a relic." "The scanner spoke first," she replied. For a second, no one moved. Then the lights flickered. The air in the hangar seemed to thicken, like gravity itself had shifted. One of the recruits, a young avian, whispered, "Sir." The temperature's dropping. The commander ignored him. "Scan her again." The machine began another sequence, lights spinning faster. Blue, yellow, red, until a loud crack split the air. The scanner overloaded and shut down, smoke curling from its vents. Before it died completely, the machine uttered one last message in a distorted, metallic voice. "Alert! Earthborn confirmed. Omega-level threat." The silence that followed was heavy. Every soldier stared at the human woman standing in the red glow of the emergency lights. Her expression didn't change. Her eyes were calm, distant, like someone watching a storm they had seen before. Finally, she broke the silence. "I didn't come here to fight." "Then why did you come?" the commander demanded. Mira looked up at him. "To remind you why your scanners still remember us." A nervous laugh rippled through the ranks. The commander sneered. "You think I'm afraid of ghosts?" The airlock door behind her slammed shut on its own. locking with a sharp click. The station's AI, Very's core, flickered to life on the nearby screen. Its voice was trembling. A machine, afraid. Warning. Unauthorized presence detected. Level Omega. Advise immediate evacuation. The commander shouted, "Override that alert," but the AI didn't respond. It only repeated the phrase louder. Immediate evacuation. Immediate evacuation. The soldiers began stepping back. Even the officer who mocked her was now pale under his scaled skin. Mira stood perfectly still. "I warned you," she said quietly. "Earth doesn't forget." The commander raised his plasma spear. "You'll answer to me, human." The ground trembled slightly, as if the station itself reacted to his words. The lights flickered once more, and every console on the deck displayed the same ancient symbol, E01, the mark of the first human war unit. The commander's weapon wavered. His voice was less steady now. "What are you?" he whispered. Mira took one step forward. The faint sound of her boots echoed across the hangar. "A survivor," she said, "and a warning." Then, without another word, she turned her gaze toward the main corridor. Somewhere deep inside the station, systems began to power down. Doors locking, alarms switching to silent mode, as if the entire base recognized her presence. The commander stared, frozen. His armor sensors blinked danger. The human's presence was rewriting the environment. And the scanner, half-broken, sparking, spoke one last time in a faint digital whisper. "Do not engage. Do not engage. Earthborn active." The woman stopped at the exit, her silhouette framed by the flickering red lights. She glanced over her shoulder once, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "Tell your High Council," she said softly. "Earth has woken up." Then she disappeared into the corridor. The metallic corridors of Very's 9 echoed with alarms. Red lights flashed across every bulkhead as soldiers whispered about the strange human woman who had broken the scanner. The rumor spread like wildfire. Earthborn, Omega level. The commander of the station, General Varkos, stood at the center of the command deck. His armor shimmered with energy, a deep silver exosuit engraved with old war marks. His claws tapped against the table as he replayed the footage of the scanner malfunction. He watched the woman's face frame by frame. Calm, cold, not afraid. "Earthborn," he muttered, his voice thick with disbelief. That word should not exist anymore. A nervous officer beside him spoke. "Sir, the AI confirmed her origin code. Sector Sol 3 Old Earth Registry." Varkas's reptilian eyes narrowed. "A ghost file. Some scavenger using human DNA to trick the system." He slammed his clawed hand on the console. "Bring her to me." Moments later, the heavy doors hissed open. 2 soldiers dragged Mira Hale into the command deck. Her hands were bound by magnetic cuffs that glowed blue. She didn't resist. Her steps were slow, controlled, and quiet, too quiet for a prisoner. Varkos turned toward her with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "So, the ghost of Earth walks into my station," he said mockingly. "Tell me, little human, how does it feel to live under false legends?" Mira didn't answer. Her gaze wandered across the command deck, studying every monitor, every soldier, every weapon. "I asked you a question," Varkos said, stepping closer. "You will speak when your superior addresses you." Her eyes met his. "Superior?" she said softly. "That's a dangerous word to use with my kind." The soldiers exchanged nervous glances. One of them whispered, "Sir, the scanner still reads her as active. The alert never cleared." "Silence," Varkos snapped. "She bleeds like anyone else." He walked in circles around her, studying her closely. "No armor, no implant signatures. You look fragile. Do you even know what war looks like?" Mira's lips curved slightly. "I know what the end of one looks like." The commander stopped. "You dare speak like that to me?" She didn't respond. He laughed, sharp and loud. "Do you think you frighten me, Earthborn? I've seen your kind die. I've seen your cities burn." Her voice was quiet but cut through his words like a blade. You saw ruins. Not us. Varkas's laughter died. He motioned to his guards. Disarm her. If she's Earthborn, we'll see how she fights without her myths. The soldiers approached cautiously, their weapons drawn. One reached for her cuffs. The moment his claw touched the metal, a spark shot out. He screamed as blue lightning arced through his armor, throwing him across the room. Smoke rose from his chest plate. The other soldiers froze. Mira hadn't moved an inch. Her cuffs fell off, the locks melting away like wax. Step back, Varkos roared. The air changed. The lights dimmed to a soft, flickering red. The room seemed to breathe, as if the station itself was alive and watching. Mira raised her eyes. You really should have listened to your scanner, she said. Varkos lifted his plasma spear. Its blade hummed with white energy. You're bluffing, he growled. You're just another creature hiding behind a dead world's name. Mira looked around the room. You think Earth died because you stopped hearing from it. You're wrong. She took one step forward. Every console in the command deck flickered. Screens filled with static, then one by one showed an old symbol, the Earth Core insignia. Soldiers gasped. The symbol was banned, erased from the Alliance database centuries ago. How are you doing that? One officer cried. Our systems are isolated. I'm not doing anything, Mira said. Your station remembers. The metal floor vibrated under their boots. Energy surged through the walls. For a moment, the holographic star map behind them distorted, showing countless red dots, each labeled Earth Strike Fleet. Then it vanished. Varkos stepped back, sweat forming under his armor. This is impossible, he whispered. There are no Earth fleets left. Mira tilted her head. That's what they told you. Varkos snarled, trying to hide his fear. Enough tricks. He swung his plasma spear down toward her. The weapon hit, but didn't. The blade stopped a few inches above her shoulder, frozen in midair. The hum of the weapon faltered, then died completely. Varkos tried to pull it back. It wouldn't move. The air around her shimmered like heat, bending reality. Physics obey us differently, she said quietly. He stumbled backward, dropping the weapon. What are you? Mira stepped closer, her eyes glowing faintly gold. A warning, she said again, and a memory your kind buried too early. She reached out and touched the wall beside her. Instantly, the lights across the deck turned white. The AI's voice filled the room. Override in progress. Earthborn signature confirmed. Command authority transferred. Every soldier's armor powered down. Their weapons went limp. The whole command deck froze. Varkas's suit flickered and deactivated, leaving him standing in his natural, vulnerable form. His voice shook. This can't be real. Mira looked at him. You wanted to see what war looks like, she said softly. You're standing in its shadow. Then she turned away and began walking toward the exit doors, which slid open for her automatically, as if the station itself recognized her as its owner. Varkos could only watch her go, his heart pounding, his pride shattered. Behind her, the lights dimmed again, and the AI whispered one last time. Earthborn active, control restored, awaiting command. Mira didn't look back. Not yet, she whispered. Let them remember first. The sound of her boots echoed down the steel corridors. Each step of Mira Hale was slow, quiet, and calm. Too calm for someone surrounded by an army. The alarms were gone now, replaced by a low hum that seemed to follow her, as if the station itself breathed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She walked past armored patrols. Soldiers pressed themselves against the walls, not daring to meet her eyes. Every scanner she passed flickered red, whispering the same warning again and again. Earthborn detected. Do not engage. But fear has a way of blinding pride. General Varkos, still shaking with rage, followed from behind with a new squad of elite guards. Massive creatures covered in plated armor, their faces hidden behind helmets shaped like skulls. They were called the Iron Mantle's hand-picked killers. She's one human, Varkos growled, voice trembling with humiliation. One flesh creature against 20 armed soldiers. End this. The guards nodded and moved forward. Mira stopped at a large circular chamber, the training hall. The floor was metal, scorched from years of drills and battles. Screens glowed around the edges, showing holographic targets and data readouts. She turned, facing the soldiers now spreading around her. Her expression was peaceful, almost curious. 20 of you? She said softly. That's generous. The captain of the guards raised his plasma rifle. Kneel, he barked. You are under Alliance order. Before he could finish, the lights dimmed. The temperature dropped. Frost began to form on the edges of the walls. Mira sighed. You never listen. The captain fired. The beam of plasma hit her square in the chest. For a moment, everyone thought it was over. Smoke filled the room. The commander smiled, ready to celebrate. Then the smoke cleared. Mira was still standing. Not burned. Not hurt. Her eyes glowed faintly gold now, her jacket rippling as invisible waves of energy radiated from her body. She whispered something, not in any known language. The floor cracked. The soldiers stumbled back as the ground beneath them seemed to melt and reform like liquid metal. The holographic screens shattered into sparks. The AI voice tried to speak but glitched into silence. The captain screamed, firing again and again. The plasma bolts curved midair, bending away from her, then slammed into the walls behind them. What is she doing? One soldier shouted. Varkos watched in horror. His armor sensors showed impossible readings: gravity distortion, unknown energy source, biological command override. She's controlling the field, he whispered. She's controlling the station. Mira lifted her hand slowly. No, she said. I'm reminding it who built it. With a flick of her wrist, every weapon in the room disassembled itself. Bolts, barrels, and circuits flying apart in midair and hovering above the soldiers like frozen dust. The guards looked around, terrified. One dropped to his knees, clutching his head. Make it stop. Please make it stop. Mira walked forward. The floor lights brightened with each step. Do you know what Earth learned? She said quietly. To turn every weapon against itself. The floating pieces of metal began to spin, forming sharp fragments. The guards ducked, shielding their faces. Stop this, Varkos shouted. She looked at him. You started it. The shards flew outward, embedding themselves in the walls, missing every soldier by an inch. The entire hall shook. Mira stopped in the center of the room, surrounded by sparks and debris. That was mercy, she said softly. The next time won't be. Her calmness was worse than anger. It made her terrifying. Varkos's second-in-command, a tall alien with red armor, stepped forward, shaking with rage. You think you can walk into our station and scare us? He roared. We are the Alliance. We conquered stars while your kind hid on a dying rock. Mira turned toward him slowly. And yet here I am, she said. In your command room, walking through your walls unharmed. The officer raised his weapon and charged. His steps were heavy, his roar louder than the hum of engines. He swung his blade down, only for her to raise one hand. The blade stopped in the air, frozen like stone. The officer stared in disbelief. The weapon shattered into dust between his fingers. Mira didn't look angry. She looked tired. I didn't come to kill anyone, she said softly. But you keep asking for lessons. She reached out and touched his chest plate gently. A flash of light burst from her hand. His armor folded inward without crushing him, just enough to lock him in place. His eyes went wide with shock as he fell to his knees, breathing hard. The soldiers backed away, forming a circle around her. None dared to move. The AI's voice returned, echoing across every speaker. Warning. Earthborn presence confirmed. Station protocols adapting. Priority command reassigned. The entire station vibrated. Doors sealed automatically. Power rerouted to the central core. Varkos's claws trembled. What do you want? He demanded. Why come here? Mira looked at him for a long time. To remind you what fear feels like, she said. She turned and walked toward the control door. The lights followed her, one by one, like obedient soldiers. Varkos shouted after her. You think you can just leave? You've declared war on the Alliance. Mira paused at the doorway and looked back, her expression unreadable. No, she said. I'm preventing one. Then she vanished through the corridor, the doors closing silently behind her. The soldiers stood frozen. The air still hummed with her presence. The scanners on every helmet kept repeating the same message in soft, mechanical whispers, over and over again. Earthborn detected. Do not engage. Do not engage. Do not engage. And deep inside Varys 9, something ancient stirred. A dormant human code waking after centuries of silence. The corridors of Varys 9 were no longer quiet. The AI's whispers echoed through every wall, repeating old words no one understood. Earthborn, protocol awakened memory archive restored. Lights flickered as Mira walked deeper into the restricted decks. She moved like someone who had been here before, turn after turn, never hesitating. Every door opened for her automatically, reading a code that had been forgotten by every species except one. Behind her, panic spread through the station. Soldiers argued, alarms buzzed, and command lines jammed with static. No one knew what to do. General Varkos stood in the control room, staring at his failing systems. She's digging into our core archives, his officer shouted. She's unlocking sealed data from before the Alliance was born. Varkos slammed his fist on the console. Then stop her. We can't, the officer stammered. The system thinks she's the original creator. Varkos froze. That's impossible. Mira entered a vast circular chamber deep beneath the command decks. It was dark, except for a faint white light glowing in the center. Rows of dead machines surrounded her, giant servers covered in dust and vines of ancient cables. As she stepped forward, the room awakened. Screens lit up one by one, showing flashes of old recordings. Wars, explosions, planets burning. Voices overlapped in chaos. Soldiers shouting, human ships falling, alien fleets retreating. Mira stopped in front of a cracked glass panel that still worked. Across it, a phrase scrolled in white letters. Earth Defense Log, classified, year 2451. Her reflection glimmered on the glass. Her eyes were calm but tired. Playback authorized, the system said. The screen came alive. A human general appeared in the hologram, gray-haired, wearing the same insignia as on Mira's jacket. Behind him burned the blue sky of Earth, filled with smoke and falling ships. This is General Kellen of the Earth Corps, he said. To anyone who finds this, Earth did not fall. We withdrew. We left the stars to heal from what we did. He paused, his face hardened. The Alliance called us monsters. They were right. We built weapons that turned suns into firestorms. We learned too late that power without empathy is extinction. The video glitched, showing flashes of terrified aliens surrendering, then human soldiers turning away from victory. If we return, the general said, it will not be for war, but if the stars forget who we were, then let this message remind them why they should have left us alone. The recording ended. Mira stood there quietly. Her hand rested on the console. She whispered, You always did love your warnings, Kellen. Another hologram activated automatically. It showed cities rebuilding, alien and human children walking together under bright skies. Then, abruptly static, a voice repeated, Project Exodus. Earthborn seeds deployed. Hidden colonies active. Mira's jaw tightened. So they survived, she murmured. Behind her, a soft mechanical sound broke the silence. Someone entering. Varkos stepped into the chamber with 2 guards, his plasma blade glowing in his hand. His armor flickered from interference, but his eyes burned with fury. You think you can rewrite history? He snarled. You think one old human can scare the Alliance? Mira turned slowly. The holographic light bathed half her face, making her look like a ghost from the past. Rewrite it? She said. No, I'm just showing you what your leaders erased. Varkos laughed bitterly. We erased the truth for peace. Humanity's kind of peace killed half the galaxy. Mira looked back at the screens, images of the old wars flickering across her eyes. And yet you built your empire on the ruins we left behind, she said quietly. You copied our weapons. You used our code. Even your station breathes our design. She took a step closer. The floor lights brightened beneath her boots. Tell me, Commander, if we were so extinct, how does your station still remember my name? The commander hesitated, his blade trembling slightly. Mira raised her hand toward one of the nearby terminals. A faint white line of code began crawling across the screens, rewriting old commands. The AI's voice spoke again, now clearer, older, almost human. Welcome back, Lieutenant Hale. Earth Command recognized. The room vibrated. The guards staggered as the floor rippled under their feet. Varkos shouted, "Shut it down! Shut it down now!" The AI ignored him. Restoring Genesis network. Preparing message relay to all connected systems. Mira closed her eyes. She whispered, "It's time they remember who taught them the stars." Every monitor in the room flashed white. Across the galaxy map on the wall, hundreds of red dots appeared, each one labeled colony. Earthborn Exodus. The commander's face drained of color. Those are real? Mira nodded slowly. Hidden worlds. Survivors. Generations waiting. Varkos took a shaky step back. You've doomed us all, he hissed. The Alliance will never allow this truth. Mira looked at him with quiet sadness. You already did worse when you tried to erase it. The AI's voice thundered through the chamber. Transmission sent. Earthborn network awakened. The lights dimmed to black. When they came back on, the hologram of the old Earth general stood beside her again. His voice, though just an echo, filled the chamber like a promise. We are not gods. We are not demons. We are simply what the universe made to test itself. Mira looked up at him, whispering, "And the test begins again." The image faded. Varkos stepped forward, desperate now. "You don't understand what you've done." Mira's voice was steady. "You're right. I understand too well." She turned and walked past him, her hand brushing against his armor. Every circuit inside it shut down instantly. He fell to his knees as she walked away. The AI's whisper followed her out of the chamber. Earthborn active. Phase 2 initiated. The message spread faster than any warship could fly. Every connected station, every command ship, every AI relay across the galaxy blinked with the same transmission. Earthborn network awakened. Do not engage. It was just 6 words. But in those 6 words, entire empires began to shake. On the bridge of Veres 9, alarms screamed. Screens glowed white, then black. Soldiers whispered prayers in languages older than the stars. General Varkos sat slumped against the wall, his armor dead and powerless. The fear in his eyes was something no weapon could hide. "What have you done?" he whispered again and again. But Mira Hale was already gone. She moved through the silent hallways like a shadow of light, the station systems reactivating wherever she walked. Doors opened before she touched them. Lights turned gentle white instead of red. The AI voice spoke softly now, not with warnings but respect. Earthborn presence confirmed. Command priority. Follow. Every camera turned to her as if the station itself was bowing. Far across the galaxy, in the council chamber of the Alliance, panic filled the air. Alien leaders argued, shouted, and slammed fists on the table. "The Earthborn should not exist," one shouted. "They were destroyed," cried another. "Then explain why our AI recognizes her." The main screen flickered with Mira's transmission. She didn't speak, but the code behind the message was human, pure, uncrackable, and ancient. One old scholar in the corner whispered, "It's the Genesis signal, the one that built the first AI networks. They were human in origin." The chamber went silent. The Supreme Chancellor, a tall figure of blue light, leaned forward. "If the Earthborn truly live," he said slowly, "then we are not the masters of this galaxy. We are its students." Back on Veres 9, fear turned into chaos. Some soldiers tried to flee. Others prayed. The youngest ones stared at Mira's path on the monitors, their faces pale with awe. "She's not fighting," one whispered. "She's repairing the station." It was true. The systems she touched came back online cleaner, smoother, faster. Power grids balanced themselves. Medical units rebooted. The AI's tone changed from mechanical to almost gentle. Restoration complete. Earthborn link stable. Mira stood in the command bridge now, alone. The view outside showed the red planet below, glowing faintly under the twin suns. Her reflection looked tired. Her hands shook slightly as if the energy flowing through her was more than her body could handle. "Too long," she murmured. "We stayed silent too long." A small drone hovered near her shoulder. It projected a holographic sphere showing the galaxy, hundreds of red dots pulsing where the Earthborn colonies had reactivated. Mira looked at them quietly. "You all survived," she whispered. "Good." Then the heavy doors burst open. 3 battle officers stormed in, each wearing elite combat armor. Their leader, a scarred alien with glowing eyes, shouted, "By order of the High Council, surrender immediately. You are under." The AI interrupted. "Warning. Aggression toward Earthborn detected. Protocol 001 active." The soldiers froze. Their armor flickered, systems shutting down. The lights turned red. "What's happening?" one shouted. Mira sighed. "It's protecting me. You should have learned by now. Machines remember who built them." The officer roared and pulled a small plasma pistol from his belt, an older model disconnected from the system. "You're just a woman," he screamed. Mira looked at him sadly. "I used to be." He fired. The shot hit her shoulder. The energy spread like fire, but then vanished into light, absorbed completely. Mira didn't even flinch. "You still think violence gives you power," she said softly. "That's what destroyed the old worlds." The officer took a step back, trembling. What are you?" Mira walked toward him, the faint hum of power following her like music. "A memory," she said, "and a promise." The officer dropped his weapon. He fell to his knees. "Please," he whispered, "don't kill us." Mira stopped in front of him. "Killing you would mean forgetting who we were," she said gently. "And humans don't forget." She turned away. "Leave this place. Tell your leaders Earth doesn't want war. But if they come, they'll remember why they feared our name." The AI's voice echoed through the station again, this time across every frequency in the system. "Transmission authorized. Statement. The Earthborn have returned." Throughout the galaxy, the message reached every world. Frontline bases, trade ships, even distant colonies that had never seen a human. Some celebrated. Some hid. But all listened. An alien child asked her mother, "Who are the Earthborn?" Her mother whispered, trembling, "The ones who made the stars safe and dangerous." Back on Varys 9, Mira stood in the observation dome, watching the stars shimmer. Her jacket moved in the soft artificial breeze. Behind her, the AI spoke again, its voice now almost human. "Lieutenant Hale, would you like to re-establish full Earth command?" She thought for a moment, then shook her head. "No," she said softly. "Not yet. They'll come on their own. They always do." She turned toward the stars and whispered something that only the AI recorded. Humanity never died. It just waited for the right time to wake. Outside, the station scanners pulsed one final time, and across the void of space, hundreds of hidden colonies blinked their lights in response. The galaxy, once united under fear of humans, now trembled again. Not from invasion, but from memory. The stars outside Varys 9 looked calm, too calm. Inside the battle station, chaos grew like wildfire. Across the decks, officers shouted orders. Engines roared back to life. Fighters launched from hangars one after another. The command logs all said the same words in bold red letters. Objective: neutralize Earthborn presence. General Varkos stood at the center of the control bridge, his eyes burning with fury. His armor flickered, still unstable after Mira's touch, but his voice was sharp and loud. "Charge all weapons," he barked. "We end this now. One human cannot control the Alliance." None of his officers answered. Fear hung in the air like smoke. Every time someone spoke, the AI's soft voice interrupted. "Warning. Earthborn protection active. Hostile actions not advised." "Silence that machine," Varkos roared. The technicians tried, but the AI refused to obey. It repeated the same line almost gently. "Do not engage Earthborn. Station memory alignment complete." Varkos slammed his claws against the console, sparks flying. "Enough! Ready the main cannon." Far below the command deck, Mira stood in a quiet hall filled with broken light. The hum of the engines surrounded her like a heartbeat. She could feel the fear moving through the metal. The station itself was alive with confusion. She placed a hand on the wall. "You remember us, don't you?" she whispered. The lights pulsed softly in reply. Mira looked up. Her reflection stared back from a cracked panel. "You don't have to fight them," she said quietly. "Just stop protecting me." But the AI answered with something she didn't expect. "We do not protect you, Lieutenant Hale. We protect your purpose." She closed her eyes for a second. "Then help me end this without blood." Back on the bridge, Varkos's fury turned into madness. He stood tall, breathing heavily, his silver armor glowing brighter. "If the machines won't obey," he hissed, "we'll destroy them with our hands." He turned to his soldiers, those still loyal, still foolishly brave. "Listen to me," he shouted. "We are the Alliance. We conquered fear itself. That woman is a myth, a leftover from a forgotten war. She bleeds like we do." But deep down, even he didn't believe his words. He activated his command suit, an ancient battle armor powered by plasma reactors. Blue energy surged through his body, surrounding him with a glowing shield. "I'll face her myself," he growled. "Prepare the observation hall." The soldiers hesitated. "Sir, that area is restricted." "Do it," he roared. Minutes later, the heavy doors of the observation hall opened. Mira stood in the center, looking out at the endless stars. Her back was turned to him. "So you finally came," she said quietly. Varkos stepped inside, every part of his armor humming with lethal energy. "You've brought enough chaos. The galaxy will know peace when you're dead." Mira turned slowly. Her expression was calm, almost sad. "Peace through fear," she said. "That's what you learned from us. You just never understood why we stopped." Varkos raised his plasma blade. "No more words," he charged. The floor trembled under his steps. The blade cut through the air, bright and deadly. It slashed right through Mira, or so it seemed. The image of her body blurred like smoke, reforming behind him. "You're too slow," she said softly. Varkos roared, spinning around, swinging again and again. Every strike missed. Sparks flew. The metal walls screamed under his blows. "Fight me," he shouted. Mira's eyes glowed faint gold. "You think this is fighting?" she asked. "This is what your leaders made of courage, blind rage." Her voice echoed across the hall, calm but powerful. "We were not gods. We were just tired of cruelty." Varkos lunged again, his armor overheating. "You can't stop me." Mira raised her bare hand. "I already did." The entire hall went silent. His armor froze mid-movement. The blue light flickered out. One by one, the glowing plates peeled off his body, floating into the air like ashes caught in the wind. He dropped to his knees, gasping. How are you doing this?" She walked toward him slowly. "The Earthborn didn't build weapons," she said. "We built will." Her hand rested gently on his chest plate. The metal melted beneath her touch, revealing the trembling creature inside. "You could have built something beautiful," she whispered. "But you chose fear." Varkos looked up at her with shaking eyes. "Then finish it. Kill me." Mira shook her head. "No. That's the difference between us." She stepped back. The floating shards of armor drifted down, forming a ring of glowing dust around him. "You'll live to see what truth does to your empire." The AI's voice filled the room again, now steady and bright. Command override accepted. Alliance war protocols terminated. Every ship in orbit suddenly stopped moving. Engines died. Weapons powered down. Across the fleet, stunned pilots shouted for answers. Mira looked through the viewport at the silent armada floating in the void. "It's done," she whispered. Varkos slumped forward, defeated. "What happens now?" he asked weakly. She didn't answer right away. Her eyes lingered on the stars, where faint red lights still blinked, the hidden colonies, the sleeping Earthborn waking across the galaxy. Finally, she said, "Now, they remember." She turned toward the door. The AI spoke softly behind her. "Lieutenant Hale, the Council demands communication." "Let them wait," she said. "They spent centuries silencing our voice. It's their turn to listen." The doors opened, and she walked out without looking back. Behind her, Varkos looked up through the glass dome, whispering to himself, "She didn't fight like a soldier. She fought like history." Outside, the stars flickered again. One by one, new signals lit up across the dark sky, thousands of them, each one carrying the same coded message. Earth remembers. Silence returned to the stars. No engines, no weapons, no war cries. Only the quiet hum of space itself, waiting. The great station Varys 9 drifted above the red planet like a frozen monument. Every ship in orbit hung motionless, powerless under the system lockdown. And at the heart of it all, Mira Hale stood alone in the communication tower, the highest point of the station, where the stars felt close enough to touch. Her face was pale under the cold light. The glow from the screens danced across her eyes as she looked at the transmission feed, connecting to every major channel across the galaxy. All systems linked, the AI confirmed softly. "Voice ready, Lieutenant Hale." Mira took a deep breath. For a long time, she said nothing. She just stared into the dark. Out there, she knew millions of beings were watching, waiting to see if the word Earth was still real. Finally, she began to speak. "My name," she said slowly, "is Mira Hale, Lieutenant, Earth Corps." Her voice traveled through frequencies faster than light, carried on every satellite, through every relay into every home. Across thousands of worlds, people stopped to listen. "I am not here to fight," she continued. "I am not here to rule. I am here to remind you." She paused. The camera's light blinked red. Her words echoed through command halls, marketplaces, and battle stations alike. Centuries ago, when humanity walked among the stars, we built wonders and horrors. We made machines that could think, weapons that could destroy suns, and dreams that could heal planets. We learned how to control almost everything, except ourselves. She glanced down for a second, remembering the old hologram of General Kellen. "So we left," she said quietly. "We disappeared before we could become the monsters everyone feared. But we didn't die. We waited." Across the galaxy, officers looked at one another in silence. In the council chambers, leaders stood still, not daring to interrupt. Even the AI networks paused their background chatter, as if listening to their original teacher. Mira's voice softened. "You built your civilizations on what we left behind. You took our code, our machines, our blueprints, and you forgot to ask where they came from. You erased the name Earth because it frightened you." Her eyes lifted toward the stars. "But fear is not what we wanted to leave behind." Inside the chamber, the AI shimmered to life beside her. Its form now human-like, calm, glowing with white light. "Would you like to transmit visual memories?" it asked. Mira nodded. "Show them what they forgot." Instantly, every screen across the galaxy lit up, not with destruction, but with history. Images of Earth. Blue oceans, white clouds, children running under rain, cities shining under sunlight, the first human ships lifting into orbit. Then scenes of friendship, humans and aliens working together, laughing, learning, building. The audience across worlds watched in silence. "This," Mira said, "was us, not gods, not demons, just people who loved their world too much to let it become a weapon." Tears welled in her eyes. You feared our strength, but our real power was compassion. The AI's voice whispered gently. Transmission reaching all sectors. Emotional response detected. Unity. Mira smiled faintly. Good. Then her tone changed. Calm, but unshakable. To the Alliance Council, she said. You tried to erase our memory. You called us a threat. You sent soldiers to silence me. Her voice grew colder. You've built your peace on fear, on control, on lies. But peace built on fear doesn't last. You know that now. She leaned closer to the console. This isn't a warning of war. It's a reminder of what happens when you forget who you are. Her eyes softened again. We are not coming to conquer you. We are coming home. Across the galaxy, chaos turned into awe. Some worlds fell to their knees. Others raised their hands to the sky. On frontier colonies, old humans hidden among alien neighbors whispered in tears. She did it, she told them. Children pointed to the glowing screens. That's Earth? They asked. Yes, their parents said quietly. That's where kindness was born. On Varys 9, the AI confirmed the final line of data. Transmission complete. Signal archived on every known system. Estimated reach. Entire galactic network. Mira exhaled. Her shoulders trembled slightly. It's done. The AI's form brightened. Would you like to disable EARTHBORN protocol? She shook her head. No. Keep it. For how long? Mira smiled faintly. As long as they need to remember. Behind her, the massive window showed the stars shifting. The distant colonies, the hidden Earthborn worlds, began to shine brighter, one after another. They weren't fleets. They weren't weapons. They were beacons. Each sent the same simple signal back to Varys 9. We are still here. Mira stood quietly, watching the galaxy light up like a memory rekindled. Her reflection shimmered in the glass. Calm, human, and infinite. Far below, in the empty command deck, General Varkos watched the message replay on a small cracked screen. His claws trembled. He whispered to no one, She didn't destroy us. She forgave us. He turned to his soldiers. Stand down. All of you. The war is over. Mira turned off the console. The AI dimmed. The station lights returned to normal. The hum softened. She stepped closer to the window one last time and whispered to the stars. You can rest now, Earth. They finally know. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt small again, not from fear, but from connection. Outside, the final transmission echoed through the void, repeating endlessly across every world, every ship, every AI. Earth remembers. Be better than fear. And in that silence, the stars themselves seemed to whisper back. Welcome home.